Welcome back to another Pokemon What If Wednesday, where every Wednesday morning we go through last week's investing and collecting questions, where your guys' questions will actually be featured in the video, and one person's question will help me make the thumbnail every single week. So please drop your questions down below for a chance to be in next week's video, and if I did comment to you saying great question, I might use this. If I didn't, please drop that same question again and put repeat question, it'll get moved to the top. And I'm not saying I'm some guru who just knows everything, but when I'm unsure, I always like to talk it out with a few people. It always helps me make my final decision. And we do have to do the question of the day, and I actually just seen a super cool video. I cannot remember who made it, but it was Urshifu fighting Hitmontop, Hitmonlee, and Hitmonchan all at the same time. Who do you guys think would win down below? And we do have to get things to our video sponsor real quick, and that is METATCG. If you guys have a ton of bulk laying around, which we both know that you do, and you guys want to trade it in for some super rare cards or cash, definitely check out metatcg.com. Or you can get 20% more if you trade it in for store credit if you guys are in the area, which they are located in Arlington, Texas. And they make it so easy to fill out the Pokemon bulk submission. You just click it right here. They even have a video showing you how to package up everything. You just fill out exactly how many cards you have. They do have to be near mint, but definitely check them out. I'll have all the links in the description. Then, of course, you guys want to try out Tag for your first time, click the link, use the code BEER10, get 10% off. And PSA, use the code BEER25, get $25 off your first submission. And I'll also be vending this weekend, May 30th to the 31st in Las Vegas at PokeCon LV with Chumlee, RoboSkills, and Bill Rogers, the voice of Brock, Lucario, and a ton of others. You can use the code POKEBEER to get 25% off your tickets. I hope to see you there. And the weekend after that, I will be in Irvine, California at Trading Card Con with Coop, Beer Dad, Pokeshawn, all of them, bringing all my statues. Should be a ton of fun. Use the code POKEBEER to get $5 off your tickets. But all right, first question is from Tom Elliott. Oh, great beard. Could you tell me the best way to invest to make my collection more crash proof? Thanks for your top advice / tips. So you just got to be smart. You cannot overspend. You know, when everything is at the absolute top, that's when you should be a lot more careful. Like, I'm not buying nearly as much stuff right now as I'd like to. And that's why I clicked on the Pokemon Center here. This should be your top priority. Locking in these Pokemon Center pre-orders every time a new set comes out. So you're at least guaranteeing, you know, a couple Pokemon Center ETBs, a booster box here and there, some booster bundles at MSRP, every new set. Because if you just do that alone, by the end of the year, you're going to have a nice little collection. And you got it all at MSRP. And if the market does cool off, you're not going to really lose money if you got everything at MSRP. The only way you're really going to lose money is if you bought everything at the absolute top. And then if the market cools off, a lot of the stuff crashes. And that's why I always say in my videos, you know, look for these dips on the secondary market because that's our safest time to buy. You know, if we get a nice little reprint of a pretty popular product and it takes a nice little dip, not a bad time. So if you lock in these pre-orders on the Pokemon Center website for every new set and you buy a few products here and there that, you know, had their nice little dip, that's going to be your safest thing. And then try not to buy products that you think are just kind of average or like something you're not even obsessed with yourself. And then also, too, try to stick with the more popular sets and the more popular products. It's just going to make it a lot safer and a lot easier because a lot of times, you know, the average products or, you know, the average or, you know, not so good sets, they can take a long time to sell, especially when the market cools off. They're basically bricks. So you stick to the more popular products. It's a little bit safer. But again, be careful of buying at the absolute top because you never know, too, what's going to get reprinted. You know, a lot of reprints right now have not been doing much. But it will make it drop a little bit in price, and that's when we're going to get those dips. Unless you do find a box that you think is severely undervalued and you can actually come up with a couple reasons why it is undervalued, then you can invest in some of those or pick up a few of those. So yeah, if you do all that, you really do not have to worry too much at all. Because like I said, even if the prices come down, you bought everything when they dipped or were there at the bottom, or you got it at MSRP, stuff like that. So it's just the smartest thing that we can do in this crazy, crazy market. And another thing, too, that I constantly keep seeing people do is come to these card shows to sell their boxes, and they're literally pulling out loose booster boxes and ETBs just in a book bag all loose, no cases on them or anything like that, and every one of them has damage. Just know, I know right now, you know, it's not super tough to sell damaged stuff, but when the market does cool off, damaged stuff just sits unless you're discounting it heavily. So if you really take care of your products, this is going to save you more money in the long run. So definitely take care of your stuff and be careful. Even me being careful, I'm still going to, you know, bump stuff every once in a while, get a dent here, dent there. It sucks. But yeah, just try to be careful. All right, next question is from Jason's. Hey Beard, what is your opinion on how much better the quality control is with the Mega Air compared to Scarlet and Violet? Do you think it will affect PSA 10 prices to come closer to raw prices like Japanese cards with the high gem rates? Thanks. No, they're not that high. It's more like Sword and Shield alternate arts. So here's the Mega Lucario with a pop of 9,500 in a 10, 4,500 in a 9. Kind of leveling out right around 550. Here's the Latias from Surging Sparks. So Surging Sparks is one of the sets where the SIRs are actually pretty difficult to grade. This has a pop of 6,200 in a 10, 9,600 in a 9. But there's a ton of sets, like the Greninja here. There's 9,500 10s, 9,500 9s from Twilight Masquerade. Then there's actually even a ton of SIRs that have a higher pop rate in a 10 than in a 9 in the Scarlet and Violet era. So it was kind of just depending on the set. Like Prismatic Evolution's also very, very difficult to grade. So yeah, I don't think it will be quite like Japanese, but I do think the cards with the slightly lower pops, like the Latias here, should be worth more than the Mega Lucario. Even though that Mega Lucario is sick. And I don't know if you guys know this, there is a ton of other Pokemon in here. There's multiple battles happening. I mean, this card is just insane. But when we're talking about like PSA 10 value-wise, the lower pop is definitely just going to help. All right, next is from Matt Tyler. Hey Beard, question for you. How do you store steel promos? Do you find folks are picky about the condition of the outer wrapping? I have seen a lot of people picky about the wrappers. The best thing you can really do is get the semi-ridges, because this will fit the entire promo in there. But I really hate the new promos that come with like the actual cardboard things inside and it's super thick. Those have just been opening because I just don't like, there's just too much stuff going on in there. But if they do not have those and they just have that extra code card in there, then I'm definitely putting them in a semi-rigid. Or if I get them already like folded over or destroyed or kind of messed up, then I'll just slip them in a binder. I don't really care too much. But if they're nice, definitely semi-rigids. Next is from Consumed. Hey Beard, how do you feel about the 2002 Charmander McDonald's promo? I think it's one of the better Charmander arts and is extremely undervalued. I'm thinking about picking one up. What's your thoughts? I love the vintage McDonald's cards. These things are crazy and it blows all the new McDonald's stuff we get out of the water. They are pretty easy to grade. There's not a ton of them graded, but there's 1,375 in a 10, 870 in a 9. It was 1,300 in a 10, now leveling out right around 4K. And then for raw, it says here $370, then PSA 9 at 2K. But I think these cards should be worth a little bit more in my opinion, even though they are already very expensive. But like I said, best McDonald's cards we've ever gotten. Next is from Bear Bottom Branton. Why do you think there is a sudden rise in Pokemon Go PC ETBs? They sat stagnant for a long time and in the last year/months have risen significantly, such a slept on set in my opinion. Well, everything's kind of going up right now. And people are just finding whatever's cheap. Then they do a little buyout and it kind of makes the price jump. It was at $145 in January. Just kind of been going slowly up. Now last sold for this one, $265, $255, and $230. So honestly, everything's just going up in price. It's not just Pokemon Go. And I actually do agree. I think Pokemon Go is a little bit slept on. I think it gets a little bit too much hate. You got a beautiful Mewtwo V alternate art, which I think is crazy slept on. You got peelable Ditto cards, which is just super, super unique. And then we got Radiant Charizard and Blastoise and stuff. Like, you do not get shinies of those constantly. So, not a bad little set. Next is from Ryle Yos 4250. Hey Beard, what's your opinion on the play stamp cards in PSA 10s? Specifically the Charizard EX from Obsidian Flames, low pops and hard to obtain. Thanks. So that's the thing. They do not sell very often. They're kind of, extremely niche. So that's the bad thing about like staff cards and play cards is when you do pick them up and you do want to move them, it can take a long time to sell them. This market probably wouldn't take too long, but if we had any type of normal market or anything like that, they can take forever. But if you can find it for a good deal, they usually do just slowly go up in price, but like I said, they can be tough to move. Next is from J Smooth. I have been slowly buying Prismatic ETB Dollar Store Edition. It has a small premium. Do you think with the printed $40 on the box make it a collectible in the future? Thanks again. So normally when you look at vintage packs and you have a super minty one versus one that has like the $2.99 sticker on it or $1.99 sticker, whatever it is, the minty one sells for more almost every time. So I collect like a lot of vintage toys, like sealed toys and stuff like that, just of my favorite movies like Small Soldiers and stuff. And like I just got the complete set of Bugs Life because that's one of my favorite animated movies. And my daughter's watching it right now. But I always try to get the clean ones without the stickers. I know they're kind of cool. Some people like them because you can see the old price. But for me, I like them clean, minty. I also do have extreme OCD, so that has always kind of bugged me. Like if I'm looking at a wall of ETBs and one of them has that $40 price tag on it, that's just going to bug me. But they do have a premium right now, which honestly is kind of blowing my mind. I do think the regular ones will bounce back and eventually pass them again. But yeah, it's just crazy. Right, next is from Jerry's Artosaurus. Wise Man Pokebeard, what do you think of this? I traded a PSA 10 Dragonite V Alt Dart from Evolving and 400 cash for 2 booster boxes of Astral Radiance and 2 booster boxes of Chilling Rain. Good trade. Yeah, I feel like that's not a terrible trade. I feel like anytime you can trade, cards for steel products, that's not too bad. I do think there's a very small chance, though, that Dragonite V Alt Art goes like to the moon one day, because I think it is literally one of the best cards from Evolving Skies, if not the best card. But like I said, small chance. Next is from Just a Therapist. Hey Beard, I've been stashing only the Series 1 First Illustration promo packs just because they're easier to store versus the entire box. What do you think about those long term, like 2 to 5 years? I love them. I have a ton of the promos, bunch of the boxes now, so I'm all in on those promos. And when you're talking about anniversary stuff, you always want to wait till the very next anniversary. We get one every 5 years, so I would not even think about selling any of those until the 30th anniversary. Next is from GPeng06I. Hi, Professor Beard. I'm a student, and I really enjoyed your videos. I've learned a lot from them. Thank you. I recently ran into a situation and wanted to get your opinion. I have a sealed Surging Sparks Pokemon Center ETB case. When it arrived, the shipping label was placed directly on top of the case label. I peeled the shipping label off, but now the original case label is faded and the words are barely visible. Do you think this affects the value? So it will affect the value just a little bit. That was super, super common. Like 90% of people's Pokemon Center ETB cases were showing up with those shipping labels on the actual case label. There's another label at the very bottom, which you can, look up to see what it is. So at least you have that. But the ones that do have the nice clean label, they are definitely going to get a little bit of a premium. But like I said, since it was so common, so many of them are going to be like that's just going to be kind of the regular price. And the clean ones will have that little premium. But yeah, both of my Surging Sparks cases also have that. Next is from Essential Kilo. Hi, Mr. Beard. Question. I'll be attending the Irvine Trading Card Con. It would be awesome to meet you in person. I saw tickets that said meet and greet, but they are all sold out. Was this for some special separate event? Will we all still get a chance to maybe do some deals with you at your vending table? Thanks in advance. So that is actually with Coop and Beard Dad. They are on the other half of the show because their lines are so long that it takes, 3, 4, 5 hours to actually meet them. And then I'll be with the other creators near the other vendors, and our lines are much smaller. I mean, you can get through my line in like 20, 30 minutes. And sometimes, I can get through the line quick and you can come right up to the table. And yeah, we'll do some deals, make some trades. Next is from T Poke Pulls. I'd love to hear your take on the current market. How does it compare to other booms and busts in the hobby? And where do you think it's heading? And if you had to guess, what do you think could ultimately lead to a market cool-off? So I've mentioned this quite a bit. It's honestly going to take, 2 or 3 bad sets with nothing like super crazy coming in the future. Like right now we have the 30th anniversary. We have a Rayquaza set coming. So having Perfect Order, Chaos Rising, and Pitch Black, not that big of a deal, even though those aren't the best sets, because we have crazy stuff to look forward to. Now, every time we do get a new generation, the market does cool off. Not saying it's guaranteed to happen this time, but like when we got Generation 9, those first few sets, the market just completely cooled off. People did not care at all. Sword and Shield alternate arts literally cut by 50, 60%. It was insane. Product was everywhere. I mean, you couldn't even sell booster boxes. Now, I honestly do not think that's going to happen with Generation 10 just because there is so much hype going on right now. But if they do what they did with Generation 9 and they really focus on all these new Pokemon, and if people don't really like the newer Pokemon, then it can definitely cool off a little bit. And honestly, that's probably the only way that's going to happen. But I do think Pokemon is getting pretty smart, and I have a feeling they're just going to have something up their sleeve like every 6 months or 8 months. And I feel like they're getting better at, sprinkling more popular Pokemon in all the sets, which is going to keep people, coming back. But she's got to think about it like this. There's so many people that only care about money in this hobby, and they want to, quick flip. And that's what's making it so people can't, find stuff in stores. As soon as we have a bunch of sets where people cannot double their money, or if they buy it and they can make $5 or $10, then the market will cool off. But like I said, I don't know when that's going to happen. Next is from Matt Ronnie. Are Sword and Shield sets like Battle Styles or Chilling Rain undervalued in your opinion? It's crazy looking back, and the ETB prices seem super cheap with how old the set is. Love the content and hope to eventually see you at a card show. Yeah, I've been saying that for months now. I feel like Sword and Shield is pretty undervalued, especially compared to some of the stuff in the Scarlet and Violet era. So, I mean, Battle Styles is definitely going to always kind of be a slow mover, but Chilling Rain is pretty solid. And yeah, a lot of the ETBs, in my opinion, are cheap. Next is from Matt Koopman. Hello, Pokebeard. What's your thoughts on Pokemon card holos that have swirls? Are they worth anything? Thanks. So if we're talking vintage, definitely. There are so many vintage swirl collectors. I've met thousands of them. Especially it depends on where the swirl is placed. If it's near like a mouth or a butt, they're worth even more, which is just funny to think about. New cards, not so much. I mean, some of the Cosmos foils, I can see people paying a little bit of a premium depending on where the swirl is or something crazy. But vintage is where it's at when it comes to swirls. Next is from Daniel Brannon. Hey Beard, my daughter is interested in trying vending as we really enjoy the card show atmosphere together. I think it would be a great experience for her to teach her some business lessons. I'm just not sure what I should all think of ahead of time. How do I source cards? I don't really want to use my personal collection. How do I make sure to get a table for us? Just not sure on the logistics aspect. Any help would be appreciated. So you can literally type in like your area and card shows, and there's going to be a ton of card shows all over, or you can check on Facebook. Super easy to get a table unless it's like a crazy popular show. Then it might be tough, but just get whatever table you can get, and you'll probably just need one table to start off. Get a little cheap case on Amazon, and then if you do not want to sell your own card, you're going to have to buy either a lot on eBay or Facebook, which is getting tougher and tougher to do because there's so many people doing that. But if you just look around for a few weeks, you might find a couple little lots or little collections here and there. And yeah, just build that up, get yourself a little binder or two, and then fill that case up, and you're ready to vend. It's really that easy. A lot of people overthink it, and I did the same thing too. But once you go to your first couple shows, it'll just get easier and easier and easier. And what's cool about going to the show is people will bring stuff to you that you can buy from them at a percentage, and that's going to grow your, vending collection and all that. But definitely a good idea to bring your daughter because it'll teach her, communication, like business, money, all that. But yeah, I love the idea of bringing your daughter though, because it can teach them a lot of things, teaches them how to make deals and talk with people and communicate, and just the atmosphere is so fun. So I definitely recommend it. And last on the list is from Kevin Brunson. What's up, Beard? Sealed versus single argument. Would you trade Ascended Gengar for a PC 151 ETB? Thanks. So I would probably do that. Yeah. Anytime you can really trade cards for sealed. I know the Gengar is one of the craziest cards we have right now, but it is so new. And 151 PC ETB definitely is not new. That thing is getting pretty old now. So yeah, I would definitely stick with the 151 PC ETB. Then, of course, if you guys want to support more, you guys can check out my Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube membership, all that. You guys know what to do. You guys are the absolute best. But I want you guys to have a great day. And if you guys want to watch my newest vending video, which is one of my best ones yet, we literally had kids crying in this video. Definitely click that one right here. The sound is a little messed up, but it's still pretty decent. I accidentally pressed a button. And then, of course, you guys want to check out my other vending videos, so you can click the playlist right here. All right, see you next time.